Welcome to episode 35 of Timm Talk, the podcast about the DC anime universe co-created by Bruce Timm. I'm Chris Lord.
I'm Cameron Dexter.
And this week we're talking Mask of the Phantasm, the first and undoubtedly the best of the movies in the DCAU. But to join us this week, we have a very special guest. Vasilios, say hello.
Hello.
Hi, Vasilios.
Oh, hey, Cameron.
Hey, what are you doing here?
I just was invited.
Oh, that's cool.
And then
So-
Chris opened the door.
Yeah.
And I
nice.
walked inside the door. And then I ended up here.
I contemplated leaving the door closed.
Uh-huh.
So you do listen to the podcast, which we do greatly appreciate. You may recall that during our Demon's Quest episode, Cameron decided to inject some tension and some conflict. From now on, we can only have guests on that one of us hate.
Oh.
So your
Oh,
challenge for the rest of the podcast to figure out which one of us it is.
Very good.
Yeah, so
All
just
right.
try and see if you can figure it out.
Yeah, just ask me again
I
at the
forgot
end.
about that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been very hospitable. Is that a ruse?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. We're going to find out.
I didn't give you a hug when I walked in.
Yeah,
Oh.
Sign
there
of
was
something.
no touching. I touched you, and you did not. I gave you a nice little firm shoulder grab, and you did not reciprocate.
Yeah, think about it.
Yeah. Stop and contemplate. But of course, we've mentioned Vasilios before because you have an awesome podcast, Tolkien Takeaway, which Cameron was on recently, which is a great episode to listen to before. We've plugged it a few times.
Yeah,
So-
thank you. Thank you so much for your kindness and plugging my stuff, you guys. I really, really appreciate it.
Of course.
But I think I am owed it as your most devoted fan.
Oh,
Oh, well, thank you. We do appreciate that. So, but I mean, before we get into the meat of the episode, which is going to be all about Phantasm, which obviously is fucking amazing. I mean, so Vasilios, you requested this episode in particular.
Yeah.
So, before getting into that, like, where'd you start off with Batman? Like, what was your first introduction to Batman?
With, like, the character Batman?
Yeah, just
or
like
any exposure to Batman?
Yeah, where did he first appear in your life?
I think the first exposure I ever had to Batman, you guys might laugh at this, was the Super Friends.
that's awesome. Are you kidding me?
That's
That's
fair,
great.
yeah.
Watching the Super Friends, I don't know if it was on Cartoon Network or
It would be Cartoon
Network,
because,
yeah.
it's a Hanna-Barbera show.
watching the Super Friends. I remember some episodes like really vividly, and I think my mom would also watch the Super Friends. So we would actually she would kind of watch Super Friends when it came out, and then I watched it when it was like being rerun.
Right.
So we kind of watched it together. So that was kind of cute. And then like Batman the animated series, and
Of course.
then after that Superman the animated series, Batman Beyond, and so on and so forth. And then I started getting into, when I was kind of in high school and then extending into college, I started getting into Batman graphic novels. I didn't really follow a certain run of a comic, but I would just look at like best of lists of graphic novels, and I would like just read graphic novels, and of course the movies.
Okay, so then, I mean, you've watched the animated series.
I've watched the animated series, and it's interesting because I'm not watching it along with you guys, but
Okay.
I'm kind of reliving it through your voices.
Oh my god,
And,
that is a horrible lens to watch an amazing program
But,
through.
it is funny because like when you guys are talking about it, I get again like struck by these great visual images that have remained with me to this day from the show. And just going back and rewatching Phantasm for the podcast, things kept coming back, and it was great like blasts from the past for sure.
So then, why Phantasm in particular? Like, why was this the one thing that you want to come on and talk about?
Well, I think it's considered by most to be, well, number one, it stands out in my brain more than any other episode, let's say. And, other than the Beyond stuff, which I really adore.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. And I remember watching it for the first time close to when it came out. I must have been like 5 or 6 maybe I watched like a little bit after, like 6 or 7. I was 6 or 7, and I remember being at my godbrother's house, and like there was this big Greek kind of party happening in the kitchen, and I didn't want anything to do with it.
You're like, fuck this noise, there's Batman on.
Literally. And then I went into the living room where my my godbrother Stephen was watching this movie. My mom would never let me watch this.
Okay.
But it was on, and I was watching it, and I remember like when the Phantasm like first came into frame, being legitimately scared.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, legitimately scared. And so I'm like, it's just been kind of engraved in my mind, like just like really stamped, burned into my mind. And then I rewatched it a few years ago and realized what an actually quality movie it was. So I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, the guys who make the show have always been so great about their efficiency of storytelling. And I mean, should we just go ahead and dive right into it and start kind of talking about it? Because my first note is basically about like how you jump right in and it starts off immediately. And we've talked before about how a lot of
literally jumps in. Like
oh yeah, I guess he
literally jumps in the story.
We just smash through a window right into the middle of the story.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I mean, I think right from the beginning, it does set itself up as being something a little bit different, right? So you can tell it has budget. We have the big CG Gotham City. We're kind of passing through it. We have the beautiful like orchestra, which fun fact, you guys may or may not know this. It's actually. The people singing, they're chanting their own names backwards, which is pretty great.
Yeah.
It's a weird little joke. But I mean, and the animation is the best, I think.
It's so epic.
Yeah. I mean, Cameron, you're the animation expert here. It's much better than the rest of the show, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they obviously had, I mean, they didn't have much more time on this.
They had 8 months,
yeah,
which is insane.
Because this was originally supposed to be a direct-to-video movie. Yeah. Because the producers wanted a direct-to-video movie between each season, and then they realized this idea was too good, so they brought it up to a theatrical release.
And wasn't it to follow a little bit on the heels of Batman
Returns?
Was it?
Kind of.
I mean, the whole series was basically capitalizing off of the Tim Burton movies.
And actually, the intro, the fun thing that I read about this, Warner Brothers was like, because this was also kind of the age when 3D was being more, or CGI was being more introduced into movies and animated things.
Yeah.
So Warner Brothers was really, really pushing for some kind of 3D thing.
CG.
And CG thing. It's 3D animated. Whatever. Fuck you guys. And Paul Dini and Bruce were so against it. They're like, this technology isn't really good enough. It doesn't fit the style that we're going for.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, we'll just put it in something that has nothing to do with the story.
Yeah.
Like the credits.
It holds up, though. It still looks really good. I mean...
especially if you compare it to... Because the 90s Spider-Man show, they did a 3D CGI rendering of New York.
Right. Yeah, that looks
And if you compare
horrible.
the two... And this came out 3 years before the show.
Yeah, better budget, though, I'd imagine.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. So much better budget. But also, when this came out, kind of speaking about the animation aspect, it was a major flop.
Yeah, it made $5.6 million off of a $6 million budget, and then I mean, it's subsequently through various like home release. Guys, did you know that it originally came out on Laserdisc first?
Yeah, I saw
That's
that.
awesome. I didn't know that.
Did you guys ever have Laserdiscs?
No.
No.
There's no way you would if you were a child, but Vasilios, you and I are basically the same age.
Yeah.
No,
went from just VHS to regular DVD in my household.
Okay, we had the first 2 Star Wars movies on Laserdisc, which was like pretty amazing.
So you had the Mark Hamill collection.
But we didn't have this on Laserdisc.
Oh,
no.
I thought that's what you were saying. Okay.
No, but I always remember having to like get to Cloud City and like, God damn it, you have to get up and go over and flip the fucking disc and put it back in and keep on watching.
Now, in terms of like clarity and picture, was it above VHS but below DVD, or was it like the equivalent of DVD?
I honestly couldn't tell you because this would have been 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago.
Records of that?
No.
You don't have a technology diary?
No, I don't. What am I doing with my life, honestly, guys? Here, I just remember things based off emotion. I should be remembering minor technical details of the media I've consumed.
Oh, so sorry. Going back to the animation aspect, one of the reasons a lot of critics believe this flopped so badly was they were comparing it to other animated films at the time, and that basically meant comparing it to Disney.
Yeah.
And what Disney movie came out shortly after this?
The Lion King.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this lost the Annie Award for Best Picture. I feel like this is going to be a good trivia off between the two of us who can get to these bits first.
Oh, man.
Because I wrote all of them down. I'm sure you wrote them down.
I wrote them all down, too. I'm
not keeping score, but I'm ahead.
Superhero films ever nominated for an Annie Award. Do you know the other one?
Would it be The Incredibles?
It would be The Incredibles.
Oh.
Man, you guys are made for each other.
I know. It's sickening. Is really what it comes down to.
It's like I am feeling nauseous.
So we can dive in now. I got my
we got our thing. Yeah, I mean,
it
because the animation is incredible. Like, I mean, we've had some really poorly animated episodes. We talked about it before. Some good ones too, but I mean, not on this level. I mean, just the fight sequences, just right in the beginning in the casino, really fluid, very smooth. At no point do I ever feel like the animation is crappy.
No.
During the whole thing, which is pretty good.
The opening scene, if we're going to start jumping in,
so
I'm just going to jump off that diving board.
Please do.
Batman kind of breaks up a crime meeting.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to distribute counterfeit
fake
bills
money
to the casino. They're going to launder to the casino.
Gotham, Vegas.
Yeah.
And Batman. Fun fact about this scene: Batman jumps in, beats up all the bad guys, one gets away. Blah blah blah. Fun fact about this scene: the movie The Crow. If you remember The Crow,
I do.
stole this action scene. Almost scene for scene when the Crow breaks through, and he's fighting all of the goons in that one room with the long table.
I have to admit, I know of The Crow. I've never actually seen it.
That's great, Chris.
That's what I've heard. Yeah,
That's
what I've heard.
You should watch it. It's great.
But yeah, so Chucky Saul, who's the kind of leader going on here, he runs off to the garage to try and get away, and he encounters what he thinks is Batman. But guys, it's not Batman.
It's the thing that terrified all of us as little 6-year-olds.
Yeah. Yeah. The Phantasm never actually named in the movie at any point ever.
All of my facts.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna cross this out.
I know. Do you need time to cross out all the facts that I've stolen from you?
No, it's only 3. I looked up a list of 13. So
Okay, so I've interspersed mine through my notes.
Oh, I just put everything in the beginning and the end.
Oh, okay. Well, to each of their own. But yeah, so what I love about this movie too is that it addresses one of the issues I've had with the whole series was people actually die.
Yeah.
Right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like the violence throughout this whole movie is much more realistic.
There's blood.
Yeah, there's blood. Like people get cut. People get injured.
Teeth get knocked out.
Yeah, and it's much more visceral, and I think it makes a big difference.
It earned that PG rating.
Oh, it definitely earned it. I mean, I've talked about this before, that it bothers me in a lot of the episodes where a character should clearly have died given what happened to them, or like the stakes are that someone's going to die, and you never really worry about it because it's a kid's cartoon. In this, within the first 5 minutes, like one of the gangsters is killed in a pretty violent way. I mean, he drives off a parking garage and smashes into their building.
That was so cool.
Yeah, which I love too, because
awesome.
like that kills someone in this, but like we just watched the episode with Maxie Zeus where he falls like 10 stories and he just stands up and walks away from it. So we have a more realistic version of physics in this, which is much appreciated.
But he was a god.
That's true. Kind of. Yeah. Basically. But yes, I mean, I think right from the beginning, like we have like genuine stakes, efficient storytelling, great animation,
Mystery.
Mystery. Who is this person? What do they want?
A frightening tone.
Yeah, genuinely intense.
Yeah, unlike the rest of the series.
And also, just I have to mention the music. I mean, all the way through, it's amazing. But Shirley Walker's score for this is fucking incredible. I mean, she already did such a great job with the original show. She did a lot of music on that. But this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the melodrama works. It actually like buoys the action. It's not distracting because you have like an animated medium, it actually, complements it and doesn't draw away from. It's not distracting. Like even when you see like a melodramatic score for like an old live action movie, you're completely like you said earlier, are pulled out. You're like, oh my god,
it's silly, right? Sometimes,
relax with the organ,
yeah.
Or God, anything with the '90s was like kind of like that weird like synthy tunes to it.
But for this, it's just like yeah, that seems right.
This is the Batman sound.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Batman is playing the organ right now.
Just see Batman behind the scenes,
bum, 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 bum.
Just dressed in the cape and cowl, like at the organ.
But I think like going off the point of music, that's what really brought it up to that cinematic level.
Oh yeah,
that like you couldn't use the original score for this because it would make it still feel like a TV show. Like the show is really what brought it out of the realm of TV into movie.
Yeah, and they intersperse the TV show theme at certain points, but it's never featured, which I kind of like. Like it's woven into other pieces, but it's not like hey, look, it's the Batman theme. We got to shoehorn in here awkwardly. So, so we kind of move quickly from there to
Party Time.
Party Time. Yeah, we meet Arthur Reeves, played by Hart Bochner. Did you get any trivia on this? I gave you an option here for.
No, I have the other voice in that scene.
Okay, cool. Okay, so yes, okay, I'll give you that one. I know who you're talking about. But you guys have seen Die Hard, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Cameron. Do you own a television?
I own two.
Or have you ever?
Yeah. Okay, Vasilios.
Was he in Die Hard?
He's Harry Ellis, the really sleazy guy, like Hans Bubby, that guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
no, I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, I mean, but he's.
Yeah, I like that guy.
God damn it, Cameron.
Yeah.
I saw Galaxy Quest. Is that similar?
To Die Hard?
I mean, I know it's different. I was just trying to name another
sleazy character.
Alan Rickman.
I mean,
another Alan Rickman movie that wasn't Harry
Oh,
Potter.
okay. Oh, I thought you were referencing Sam Rockwell in Galaxy Quest. He kind of plays a sleazy character.
Oh, I can go for that too.
Guy Fleegman. Anyways,
Sorry.
I don't know if you guys hear that car alarm, but fuck it, I don't care.
Speaking of, can we just point out? Can we just like talk about for a quick second the biddy that goes on to Bruce that like latches herself on the third one, the number 3 biddy with the terrifying dead vampire eyes? Did you guys pick up on this?
Wait, not the one who throws the wine in his face, but
No.
the one who's like the I word.
Yeah,
Engagement?
don't use the I word
Yes.
A
engagement.
joke I did not get as a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, I was like, what joke is coming here when she said the
Yeah.
I word?
I know.
Did you notice her eyes?
Yeah, they were weirdly.
They were all black.
Yeah.
Like when you see like in a horror movie, and
Yeah.
like you see like the either the little kid or the adult with the all black eyes.
Was the implication there that she was just like fucked up on something and her eyes were super
Dude, that was-
dilated?
that was their way to do drunk.
I don't know. It was just like attractive biddy, and then oh god, a vampire.
Can I just say I love they use the word biddy. Like I don't
Same.
remember the last time I heard someone use the word.
biddy.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I might have to start bringing biddy back into
You're
my
welcome.
lexicon.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Do you know the fun fact about that girl? I'm taking.
I know the fun fact about it, but I'll let you say it.
About vampire?
No,
eyes
about
girl?
that. Yeah, about
Miss
her
Bambi,
specific.
the piano dancing misspeller.
Oh
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. I do know that one.
Do you wanna share it for the world?
It's the voice of Harley, isn't
It
it?
is. Arlene Sorkin.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I'm glad they found a way to kind of to sneak her in there.
Yeah.
in
A
some
little
space.
space.
They really wanted to, like, with this show, they didn't know, like, during what episode it was going to be released in. So they tried to
that's
distance
right.
it as much as they could from the show,
Yeah.
with, like, story elements from the show-wise. And so I think that's why we don't see Robin, we don't see Harley.
We barely see Commissioner Gordon.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's in like 2 scenes. Basically, just be like, no, Batman's a good dope.
One villain.
And then he
Guy.
literally walks out of the movie.
Yeah, he does actually.
yeah, he literally says, "I want no part of this."
Yeah.
He leaves.
Bounces.
He just washes his hands of this, and out the
No
door he
part of this
goes.
movie.
There's,
he leaves the office.
Do you guys remember The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy?
I know of it. I never really watched
remember
it.
it being on, but I never watched it.
There's a scene that makes the same joke where they animate it widescreen, and Mandy, the like very narcissistic girl, Billy comes into the scene. He's like, "Oh, I have this great plot idea for this episode," and she's like, "Nope." And you see her walk out, and like the bars were fake animated, and so she like holds it, she like breaks the fourth wall and literally walks out of the scene. She's like, "Give me the commercial break."
Yeah. Nice.
It's a good show.
Okay.
Everyone
That's
should
good.
remember how good that show is.
Uh-huh.
Oh man, that's an entirely different plug than you normally throw in there.
I know. I rarely get to talk
You
about
have
Grim
a really
Adventures.
huge breadth of animation references, and that's an obscure one.
Yeah. I
Kudos
know, I
to you,
try.
sir.
I feel like it's not that obscure because that was on for 5 years.
Yeah, but if it's not Avatar or Kim Possible, you're generally not talking about it.
Or
Teen
Codename
Titans.
Kids Next Door, or Teen Titans, or Danny Phantom.
I made a mistake. I let him start talking about other shows. So Batman. So
There's gonna be a lot of this episode.
Oh, so much of it. Yeah.
And this is when actually, when Andrea comes in, right?
Yeah. So Arthur. Oh, he talked to her on the phone briefly, right? Like he had a brief phone chat with her as she was flying in.
But
Fun.
even from the voice, though,
Oh.
I knew who it was because you guys don't know that Dana Delaney is like my first ever Hollywood crush.
Really? What?
Really,
What?
because of Tombstone.
Oh, okay. I've never actually seen Tombstone.
Oh, wow. You've never seen a movie on this podcast?
I was
oh,
waiting.
Wow, Chris.
I was waiting for that actually.
That's why I left the pause. Yeah, no, Tombstone is my favorite Western of all time.
Okay.
And she's the love interest in,
Okay.
in that movie. And she kills it. She's unbelievable. And she's my first celebrity crush. And I actually, when I got Twitter, I followed her on Twitter. And one of my first ever tweets was, I just wanted to let you know that you were my first Hollywood crush.
Okay.
So thank you. And she responded.
She did.
She
What?
responded,
That's awesome.
No capitals. Well, no all capitals. Thank you.
Aw.
And it gave me like a smiley face.
Oh, I'm glad that there was a thank you at the end and it wasn't just no all capitals and just that.
No.
Okay, so you love Dan Delaney. Do you
Yeah.
know where else she pops up in the DC animated universe?
Yeah, in Superman.
Yes.
She made the animated series Lois Lane.
Yeah, voice of Lois Lane.
Voice of Lois Lane.
So, and I think we can assume that for the purposes of this story that the character is named after Andrea Romano.
Yeah.
We must assume that, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I kept, like, when I was writing her name out, I kept writing Romano.
Andrea Romano instead. Yeah, but so she's mentioned, and like Bruce like kind of sulks off into his office and stares at his massive picture of his parents, and that triggers our first wavy line
first of many flashbacks.
Yeah, so many flashbacks. Right. But I like how even that transition's done though, because it's like it goes from a really dark room, he's by himself, the massive picture overhead, and then when it cuts to the graveyard, even though it's a graveyard and it's in the past, it's still bright. Like it's during the day, it's outside. There's just a lighter tone, especially the way this whole scene plays out when he meets Andrea too, and it really does show how far he's gone. That even back in the day, even though he was still carrying around this burden, it was not as severe, and he was still kind of happy.
Yeah, it's a great juxtaposition, and it's interesting, and it's a nice way to keep a movie from being one mood or being one note for too long. Just to insert that kind of stuff. Yeah,
it'd suck if they made a full motion length picture of one tone movies.
Just one tone. It's probably a little broody, a little dark.
Four straight movies with one.
Oh, that would. There's no way a company would be that
Cameron,
stupid.
That would be so bad.
That'd be horrible.
Who would go see that?
I don't know. People who just love to get their heart broken.
Yeah. Who would go see all of them?
Not us.
You're right, not me. I didn't see a single one. No, I saw Superman.
Oh God.
I saw Superman.
You've seen the best, which is very faint praise, but I like how the flashback's done though. But.
Yeah, it's good.
So we were introduced to Bruce and Andrea. That immediately. I had a quick question about this.
Sure.
How old are they in this scene? Because it's been 10 years since she's been back. And we think Bruce is like...
She mentions this around campus.
Okay, so that's what I thought. So they're college kids.
I think Bruce is maybe a little bit older than Dick at this point.
Okay. Because he looks
young.
They look like they just stole Dick's face and put it on a buffer body.
Yeah. No, I mean...
in these flashback scenes.
Yeah. I mean, I was saying
enormous.
In general, Bruce is animated the best in this movie compared to the rest of the show. And beyond that, especially in his flashbacks, it's a good-looking guy back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But I was wondering, because they're pretty horn dogs. They're one, not even a full date in. They talked for 10 minutes, and then they're like, all right, let's do this.
Just making out.
And I'm just like, oh, well, they're college kids. I understand.
I mean, they had... Yeah, I
accept this now.
That's how I was in college, for sure. 10 minutes, and then...
I mean, that I just assumed that was...
on grass.
I just assumed pre-Tinder that's how it worked.
And off he goes.
And also, another very small and very unnecessary thing. Seeing Alfred with black hair...
It's weird.
A little weird.
It's a little bizarre, yeah.
Doesn't seem right.
It feels... I mean, yeah, I think it's about 10 years since she was...
Yeah, because she says
left.
that on the plane.
It feels like it's longer. Just the world, the characters, they all feel it's a little bit too young, maybe. But I would think that he's probably in his mid to late 20s
right now, or
in the flashbacks. And I would imagine,
really?
Yeah, and I would think Andrea's a little bit.
Do you think he's almost 40 in the present time?
I think he's probably 35. I
was thinking maybe 20 to 22 in the flashbacks.
That's what I was
thinking.
And
then probably 30 to 32.
Really?
That was my
guess.
guess.
Yeah, I guess that does make a little bit more sense. So, but I mean, they do have really good chemistry. I have to say
they do, because it helps when you have a character like Andrea being so well written and interesting, and not just like a typical either, just like one note, just sexy or just smart or just beautiful. She's also kind of morbid.
She is, yeah. She's got a dark side to her.
Interesting. That makes a character for sure more interesting when you add that color.
We even look at how she talks to Bruce in comparison to all the biddies back at the party, right?
She almost talks down to him.
She does,
and, no one ever talks down to him.
She's not afraid of him, and I think that's part of why their dynamic works, is because he's so used to having everyone, either kiss his ass or be terrified of him, because he's this huge figure. But no, she's not afraid of him at all. So, but he mentions that he has this vow, and she's like, "Ooh, what's your vow?" And then we quickly figure out
it's a secret.
It's a
fuck you, Bruce.
It's a secret vow.
Fuck you and your dramatic bullshit.
But we've established at this point, Bruce / Batman loves to make jokes that only he gets.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But you think about it, he spends a lot of time by himself, so I guess it kind of makes sense.
Sorry, that one was for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Who are you talking to?
Yeah. It's like, sorry, did you say something? No, I did not. No, don't worry about it.
Yeah. But
I'm not Batman.
But when
You're Batman.
kind of making going off that joke, he obviously talks to himself all the time, but he can't stand it when someone else is talking to themselves.
No,
when he
true,
sees
yeah.
Andre, he's like, "Oh, are you talking to me?" No, I'm talking to my mom's grave. Oh, are you sure? Because I'm here.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That was a little awkward.
I'm gonna take a step away. Oh, I think I heard you say my name. Are you sure you're not talking to me?
I think what they were trying to do was, because the headstone was on the ground, it was a flat one. They were trying to play off like he hadn't seen the headstone, but we had so clearly seen the headstone. We were like, "What? Why is he being so dense right now? What is he? What is he doing?"
Because in his mind, everyone has like 5 foot tall, massive headstones
no one would be
for their
there
parents.
talking to nothing like that.
This says nothing other than their last name.
Right.
No, like beloved husband, wife, mother, father. No, just Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
the headstone talks to him with thunder and lightning. So
Yeah.
I
And an
don't
organ.
think anybody else's does.
Oh, so much to say.
That's
where
where the organ
Oh
player
my god!
is.
Yeah.
The organ player is underneath the tombstone.
He pays an organ player to follow him around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Andre, are you... Bruce, do you hear that? No, that's just for me.
Go. But so from there, we get his kind of his early forays into crime fighting.
Yeah.
Which I like the way they handle this. Very similar in some ways to what they do in Begins as well, with like the ski mask and that whole thing.
Yeah, where they don't find him scary.
Yeah, it's a big moment for him. Like he gets really frustrated at the fact that they're not intimidated by him, because it would be kind of ridiculous. So actually, Cameron, I did have a question for you in regards to animation. So I'm assuming you guys noticed this too, that when he's fighting the thieves, the gangsters, anytime there's an impact, like the screen flashes white.
Yes.
So I guess my question is that to basically just make it easier on the animators, that at the point of impact they don't actually have to animate that, or is it to kind of hide the violence, or what's the reason by having those like flashes of light that come up?
I would see it as to intensify the impact.
Okay.
It's similar to like when you see a gunshot go off, there's always like the big flash. It's like they're trying to connect it of like he's super fast and these are really hard hits, and so they're like, I think that was kind of their replacement of like the pow bang. Like,
Okay. All right. That's fair. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Did you feel that? Because that's what I felt like. Did you? Feel
Yeah.
that?
It does add impact to it. I mean, but it's also noticeable.
Right. Exactly.
Too. And I guess maybe because the
Stylistically.
first maybe it was also included in the opening fight sequence of the casino, but I don't remember it quite so much.
I don't think so.
But here it feels really pronounced, so that's why I was kind of curious
Okay.
where it comes from. But this is a great action sequence.
All of them are.
So
Pretty much.
And, I oftentimes the flashbacks can kind of drag a story down, but in this case, actually, it injects action into it. Like, most of the action sequences are happening in a lot of the flashbacks.
I feel it's also just as interesting as the main storyline. I had completely forgotten about this part of the movie. I had completely forgot about the quasi origin story. Mm-hmm. The post parents being killed, but pre costume being put on for the first time.
Yeah,
I forgot. And it's interesting and it's compelling. And
yeah, I mean, I think this is the best representation, because we have year one, which is what everyone kind of goes to as the pre-Batman, and I think it tells the story a little better.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, because I mean, this is the closest we get to an origin story for Batman in the animated series and in the whole DCAU essentially.
Right.
But I think the difference here is that it's not really so much an origin story, but I mean, it's a romance that's tied in with his origin, and like so it has I think a bigger emotional resonance than say even like Batman Begins, which again I love, but it's really that's just doing a lot of narrative work that you kind of feel like had to be there to set the tone. Whereas this, the real juice of the story is tied in with these scenes, and it's I think it's the structure they put in there makes it more compelling than a traditional origin story. It makes it feel less like a traditional origin story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think Rachel is nearly as well written as Andrea is.
Oh, fuck no, she's not. God, no. Maybe a little bit better in The Dark Knight. A little bit.
She explodes.
A little bit. There's that.
There's that. Oh my god. quick, my last side note for the next 3 minutes.
That's optimistic.
In my high school, I don't think I told this story yet. In my high school junior year, in our theology class, it was ethics and morality.
Okay.
Everyone has to watch The Dark Knight as part of the. Yeah, it was awesome.
That's kind of cool,
Mr. Parker, I doubt you're listening to this, but you were an awesome theology teacher.
What if he is, though?
That'd be pretty cool. His name is not Peter Parker, and everyone was really upset about that.
What's his name?
I don't remember. Mr. Parker.
God,
it also begins. I think it's like Patrick. It also begins with P.
He's gonna be really disappointed when he listens to this.
I know. I'm sorry, Mr. Parker.
Anyways,
but there's like you know exactly when the junior year class watches this, because they will all be walking down the hallway just going, "Where's Rachel? Where's Rachel?" There's always that one asshole who's like screaming it at the end of the hall, like, "Where's Rachel?" And someone else will scream, "No more dead cops." And it's just like this nice like little bonding, because like every senior knows exactly what's going on.
Funny.
All the sophomores kind of know, and they have something to look forward to, and the freshmen are just like, did everyone just watch The Dark Knight? Like, why are people doing this? This movie's been out for 4 years already.
See, while I was stressing out about girls in chemistry, Cameron was like,
well, see, that's the thing.
Live
We
in the
didn't
dream.
have girls at our school.
"That's
That you just
Oh,
get rid
yeah.
of that, and it all gets so much better.
there's that.
yeah, that helps. That would help. Replace girls with The Dark Knight,
Yeah,
and everything.
very
gets better.
very equal.
Well, you
My,
basically described my high school, like my high school life. Where are we in the story, guys?
so they're going on some dates, and they're
Oh,
going
that's right.
to the World's Fair. And I'm
No, World's Fair is the second flashback.
Yeah.
damn it.
The first
Vronsky.
the first flashback ends with them kissing on the lawn. I think
3 days and no call. I thought you were dead.
Yeah.
I'm like, that bitch. But
No,
that's awesome.
what? That is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
But that was just like,
She's like,
oh,
yeah. She's
You
like, I'm
sassy.
not gonna take your dicking around here. Like,
Yeah.
What are we doing?
we're not playing games. You're
Yeah.
getting on the ground, and I'm getting on top of you.
Yeah.
Butler, leave.
Yeah.
I don't know your name yet, so you're just gonna be Butler
Yeah.
With your weird dark hair and
with your weird
tray
dark
of lemonade.
hair.
Yeah.
I want you to watch.
Yeah, because I think that's basically where it cuts back to, again, so we go from like Bruce with Andrea out in the bright sunshine, making out on the lawn, to him being alone in his office, and Miss Bambi's dancing on the piano. Because then it goes to the second murder.
Oh, that's
out
right.
at Chucky Saul's grave. So this time it's Buzz Bronski going to pay his respects, I guess, for his friend.
He said some words. They weren't
Yeah,
nice
it was-
words,
No.
but they were words.
Yeah, I mean, there were
It's like a
sentiments.
mob thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Like the gesture.
But of course, he's cornered and attacked by the Phantasm. And I didn't realize until watching this time, he's literally killed by an angel of death.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, 'cause
it
you-
was an angel of death.
Yeah, because it's your
angel.
angel of death awaits, and then he's crushed by a giant angel
By a
tombstone,
giant. Yeah.
which is pretty great. What else happens? Not too much.
And then we go to the next flashback because they're back
No.
Oh.
So then we go to
Gordon. Wait, is this
Oh
Gordon?
no! First, it's Valestra reads in the paper that both of his friends have been killed.
And he makes the connection.
Yes. So my little tidbit of actor bitness here. I can't speak. Do you guys know who voices Valestra? Vasilios, you're nodding. You know. Of course you don't. You probably haven't seen this
I didn't
movie
look it
either.
up. I'm sorry.
Who does he voice? Or who's the voice?
Abe Vigoda,
Yes.
who voices Tessio in Godfather 2.
And one.
Is he in?
Yeah, he's in one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, anyways, but
My
yeah,
bad. But yeah.
The Godfather.
Very memorable performance by Abe Vigoda in. I think he's more memorable in 2, probably.
Yeah,
Would you
probably.
say? I
So-
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, great performance. Great
I've seen the
actor.
first one.
Okay, good. I was about. You knew that question was coming.
I knew it was coming. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Chris and I had
seen
Cameron by the
first
legs
one.
and were dangling him off of the balcony.
balcony.
Batman style, actually. You know, from this side, the vault won't kill you.
going?
Have you seen the Godfather?
I have.
All right. So you've seen that. But then, so from there, Gordon storms out of the movie. Like, I'm not going to help you guys try and catch Batman. They try and catch Batman by putting the bat signal on, but he's done with this shit. He's off at the
he's
graveyard
learned,
investigating. And okay, I got a question. So he at the graveyard, and he finds that the axe blade has the same chemical residue as a piece of glass from the opening scene. Does that ever go anywhere? I don't think so,
No.
right? Is that just his way of confirming that the murders are tied together?
I think so.
Okay, or is that just like
Because it's
Batman's
whatever
detective?
that like smoke stuff is.
Yeah, it's
He's
some
like,
sort of weird
oh, they're using some kind of chemical.
adaptogenic, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course, I don't know.
Yeah, because he doesn't figure it out until at the very end.
No, he doesn't.
And he makes no connection to what he's found.
But so when he's at the graveyard, though,
Yeah.
he sees Andrea talking to her mom's
Oh, yeah,
gravestone
that's right.
again, and she immediately figures out that that's Batman.
Which I didn't buy that she would, but then when I saw the second, when I was reminded of the second flashback and know that they have history in front of their gravestones, then,
Yeah.
I would buy.
Yeah, it may be a bit of a stretch, but it kind of works.
Yeah, it's okay.
But I love it because then Batman goes full stalker mode because she's at dinner. She's at dinner with Arthur.
Binoculars.
Yeah, in a weird way, I actually really like that scene just because it's
Yeah.
not typical of Batman. Like that's not his thing to like go and waste his time. Like,
Oh, and he loves wasting his time, but
Oh.
not for a purpose.
yeah, he'll waste his time for whatever reason. He just
He'll
comes to his
sit
bat
in a
brain at the
shipping
time.
crate for hours waiting for villains to break it open.
Yeah, but I mean, it helps set that this is like
Yeah.
really, really personal for him.
It's ripping him apart.
Yeah.
kind of inside.
Yeah, I mean, because you think about it, like his time would be better spent in trying to solve this murder, or
Right,
even
being
just
a
trying
detective.
to solve crime somewhere else. But no, like he's following her.
Yeah.
That's how much she means to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then that triggers our second flashback, which that's when they go to the World's Fair.
I love World's Fairs. I petitioned in college. It's been 3 minutes, thank God. I said I wasn't going to go on a tangent in 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I petitioned in college to make our senior show a World's Fair themed.
Okay.
And almost made it to the end just because of my like charming personality, and they realized I had like nothing to back it up.
Oh,
But
I mean that's impressive in of itself.
it was fun. A lot of my friends can tell you how much they hated me for that like presentation.
What
that I
what
gave.
did the theme end up being, if not World's Fair?
Like it was like postcard themed. It was very well designed.
That's fucking stupid.
What do you mean senior show? What do you mean?
So in the design school for the
okay.
the seniors big kind of thing
Yeah.
is we rent out a studio in downtown Kansas City, and everyone gets like a section of wall and you get to display your work for all of the
Gotcha.
for the first hour and a half it's just for professionals around the city. They come in, you have job inquiries, all that kind of stuff, and then the second hour and a half
that's awesome.
friends and family can come in and see all the work that you've done.
Yeah.
But yeah, like retrofuturism, as I've brought up multiple times in this podcast, is one of my favorite. Like,
Yeah.
Not even just art styles, but just like genres of thing. I don't even know how to classify it, but it's so fascinating because it encompasses so much.
Yeah, I mean, it could be architecture, technology, all kinds.
Yeah.
of
And like this leans really heavy into the retrofuturistic stuff.
Yeah.
too. 'Cause, I mean, Gotham, in contemporary Gotham, already has this kind of weird timeless feel to it.
Yeah, because
this
it
goes
mixes
even-
stuff from past and
Yeah, and this goes even further back. And I really love the sequence out at the World's Fair.
And it also, every time you see a World's Fair reference in a TV show or movie, they almost always reference the 1964 World's Fair.
Yeah.
Which is where the Epcot ball is from.
Oh,
but
that's
this
right,
one wasn't.
yeah.
This was the 1967 World's Fair.
Oh, so I read that it was the 64 and the 39 World's Fair were the two that this took inspiration from.
69. Yeah, that was the one.
No,
They said
39
yeah.
and 64.
64 is the Epcot one.
Yeah, that's this one then.
Okay.
I don't know. I could be wrong, or wherever I got that
I could be
information
wrong.
from.
I could be wrong. I might be losing my touch on my World's Fairs. But yeah, those are the two
we
that are
just
pretty much,
lost everybody.
Oh God! If that were the case, no one would ever listen to this ever.
I'll get off my World's Fair talk.
No,
I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I'm wrong.
But I mean, like it feels kind of like what was the Carousel of Progress was the ride at Disneyland and Disney World for a long time before
It's still
it
at the
became
World.
nothing. Is it still at Worlds? Really? Oh, that's awesome. But it's like that song, like it's a great big beautiful tomorrow, or whatever.
I've never been. I just know it's still there.
Jesus Christ!
I haven't been to World in 12 years. Don't roll your eyes at me.
But you've been on the ride then.
no,
Yeah. How did you never go on the Carousel of Progress?
because I was 12.
But it's like the kiddiest ride of all of them.
Yeah, but it's not like a fun ride. It's a learning ride.
I found it fun.
When I was 12, the only things I found fun were eating like snacks, drinking soda, and buying Yu-Gi-Oh cards at Japan at Epcot.
Oh, my little brother likes Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Liked Yu-Gi-Oh.
I mean, we all liked Yu-Gi-Oh.
I did not.
I didn't watch Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
It was more than just a show.
No.
It was a way of life.
Was for some of us.
Tune in next week for the next episode of our Yu-Gi-Oh podcast.
Oh God, I'd kill myself.
Don't even get me started.
Oh, God, no, don't give him ideas.
The Millennium items are bullshit. I'm not going.
Oh God. So they're at the World's Fair. Yeah. We get a glimpse of the future Batmobile.
Yeah, that was cool.
I like that little touch.
Yeah.
And what I also like here too is that we get to see the World's Fair back in its heyday, and then we get to see it again back in the contemporary times, that it's all run down and gone to shit. And again, I think they do such a great job of bringing this theme of contrast in the past and the present. We get to see this bright, hopeful future when the two of them are still together, and he's not yet Batman and she's not yet Phantasm. And then where the climax is at, again, the same place, and to see where they've both gone as people.
Yeah, it's not hopeful.
No, it's not.
It's grim.
Yeah,
for a quote unquote kids animated movie.
Yeah,
it's grim.
But I mean, it's just sophisticated. Even the show is actually very adult. Going back and watching it now, and I think this even more so.
And I think what makes this movie so kind of stand outish is it's kind of the only time we see a Batman or a Bruce that might have found happiness and might have not become Batman.
Yeah, and you could see how close he was. Mm-hmm. For that future playing out, that optimistic future playing out for him.
Yeah, and this is kind of one of the last points where that's still an option. So one of the quotes that I read about this was from Paul Dini, who said that part of the structure of the flashbacks was that every time you think that it's going to get better, it gets worse. And this is kind of where that happens. They're happy together at the World's Fair. Bruce is saying this isn't part of the plan.
Right. He goes and meets her dad.
Her dad, yeah.
And he even turns to Alfred. It's what am I doing?
What am I doing? Yeah. So her dad Carl. So and Stacy Keach voices Carl, also voices the Phantasm, of course, trying to set up this red herring that we'll talk about later. I don't think really works.
Yeah.
But so after they have that meeting, and we see that Carl has some kind of sketchy connections, Valestro shows up again there too. Mm-hmm. They're out walking around, and Bruce sees a guy getting robbed, and he has to jump in and fight. He can't let that instinct go. Mm-hmm. And that itself too kind of feels like a turning point. Even when he's happy, he's still letting this burden get in the way.
Yeah. He's got this driving passion inside him that he can't completely squelch.
No.
Yeah. There's two things I want to talk about really quick in that point. One, they even when it's not him suffering through it, they're constantly hammering in that idea of you have to stay with your family more than anything else.
Yeah.
Because even
Carl says that to him.
Yeah. I wrote it down.
There's nothing is more important.
Nothing's more important than family. Let me say it. I wrote it down.
Oh, I don't have to write it down. I just know it at this point.
And then that fight scene is obviously beautiful. God,
it's so good.
One of my favorite. There's 3 moments. Obviously, there's those big moments to stand out, but there's 3 little moments in this movie that really jump out at me. And this was the first one. And it's the slow-mo punch off of the motorcycle.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
takes a step onto the motorcycle.
Yeah.
And that hero pose.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, even before he's traveled the world, Bruce has got some skills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I wanted to bring up about this scene, I don't know if you found this in your notes. This was supposed to be a much bigger scene about his turning point.
Okay.
And it's because he kind of doled it down because Paul Dini pretty much wrote every dark moment in this movie because he would, during the pre-production of it when they were still writing, he was mugged and horribly attacked.
It was during this?
Yeah.
It happened during because I know this story, but I didn't know it was during this.
Yeah. Because he talked about that on the Nerdist podcast.
Yeah.
And then I've read his graphic novel adaptation of that story, Dark Knight.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
Man, that was a great episode of that podcast.
That was really good.
Great story. Great story.
But yeah, it was while he was writing this scene.
Yeah.
And so while he was
he was
healing, he kind of put himself a little bit into that moment, but he really wanted to focus on other moments to kind of intensify because I think probably just didn't want to think about it that much.
Yeah, because there are other bigger, more intense moments, but I mean, I do like here though, even that Bruce is in the zone, but it's Andrea that distracts him, and that's his fear, right? That he can't be out doing this sort of stuff. There's someone waiting at home for him who's
he can't put life on the line while someone is waiting for him at home.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then I put because he says that to Alfred, and I'm like, "You're a fucking asshole." No wonder Alfred's hair went gray in just that time.
Yeah, 10 years.
Yeah, because
like he's been worried.
Yeah, because he basically just like leaves Andrea behind and goes back, and he's like ignoring her calls, and he's worried about straying from the plan. So then he goes, and you talk about intense moments. He goes to his parents' grave, and of course they respond as he's like telling them like, "What do I do?" with thunder strikes and lightning in the sky and the organ going.
Yeah.
But I mean,
that scene.
That's an amazing scene.
It's so powerful, and I even wrote down that like the live action movies need to stop with the shitty murder scenes. Yeah. Open up on this kind of thing, or like he's still battling the conflict of like I'm not doing enough. This isn't working.
Yeah.
Like, that's where you start a fucking Batman movie.
That was, the dialogue too, like his dialogue, his inner dialogue, which actually becomes external dialogue, is just so powerful.
Oh yeah, I mean, that line, I think probably the most powerful line in the whole thing is like, I didn't count on being happy.
Right.
Like that's insane.
Right.
But, like he never thought that would be an option.
Yeah.
All of a sudden he's faced with it. Like that, he just assumed his whole life was going to be this pain.
Yeah.
And he finally finds a way out. And like, I mean, I tear up when I watch that scene.
Sure. It's so good. It's so powerful.
Yeah. And the fact that she's there and like, she says like, maybe they sent me. Maybe I'm the answer you're looking for. And it's just like, and the fact that it then ends there too. Like that flashback ends in that moment, and it's just like it's so intense and so powerful.
You have that glimmer of hope of like maybe he can be happy.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Just when you think it's gonna get better,
you see that it doesn't.
It may not. But yeah, I think that's one of the best scenes in the whole thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And again, this is why I think this is the best Batman movie, because like Cameron, your point's absolutely perfect. We've seen his parents die a whole bunch. That's not what drives him. It's not that they're gone, or it's not that they were killed. It's that he's never gotten over that.
Right.
And it stays with him forever. Yeah, and that's also why he doesn't fucking kill people.
Right. And of all the people, so
not gonna do it.
We're not gonna do it.
Not gonna do it.
We've seen already. I'm gonna jump ahead just like a hair. We've seen already that Gordon is like fully in disbelief that Batman killed these people already.
Yeah, there's no way.
And the only other person in all of Gotham that doesn't believe that it's Batman is the fucking Joker.
It's the Joker, because who else gets him?
Yeah, I think that's amazing and kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, that's not my Batman.
No.
There's no way he'd be doing that.
That's not my boo.
He's like, because his first like, did I finally cause him to do that?
Yeah,
and he's like, he takes it as like such a compliment of like, oh my gosh, I'm so honored. He killed someone.
Right. Oh, finally. Yeah, because once we come out of the flashback, like Valestra now is trying to figure out what to do. His friends are getting killed. He knows he's next. He assumes Batman's after him. He tries to go to Arthur for help, and Arthur doesn't give a shit. And then Batman figures out that they're all connected. And I love this moment too, because he mentions O'Neill, Funding Corp, and Adams, Tool, and Die. Who are those references to, Cameron?
O'Neill, Adam, Tool, and
God,
Die.
it's such a fucking softball. Denny O'Neill and Neil Adams. We've talked about them all the time.
Have we?
They're like the creative team from the 70s that brought Batman back. They created Ra's al Ghul.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I was thinking April O'Neil. I was like, are they other TV shows?
Grab his leg, grab his leg.
Is it other things that Bruce Timm might have worked on?
I think you and I can take it from here, right? We can just get rid of it.
I'll leave my notes. I'm going to go to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. Okay, but anyways, Batman is now going to go try and figure out what Valestra has to do with all of this, and he's clearly also going to go stalk Andrea, because Alfred's like, oh, you're going to go see her after you go see them.
He's like, shut up. Also, yeah, I love how he's just like, he acts like such a moody teenager in those scenes. Yeah.
Is that the diapered your bottom?
Exactly. Yeah, you think you know me so well, and yeah, that's Alfred's response.
Yeah, but okay, so I didn't literally understand what Alfred was saying. I literally played that part back 3 times, didn't get it, and I had to turn on the subtitles to read him say, "I diapered your bottom."
It took me many years to understand some parts of the dialogue in this movie.
So hang on. So the Waynes made their butler change their baby's diaper.
If I had billions of dollars,
I don't think that's what a butler does.
Well, I mean, but he was more than. I mean, he's not. He's more than just the kitchen and dining room, which, according to Clue, is what a butler does. No, like he was kind of like. I mean, he was part of the family, kind of. Yeah, I mean, he was just.
Pet. He was like the pet.
Yes, that's exactly it.
He was the pet Brit.
Yeah, that's what billionaires do. They have their pets, dogs, cats.
British people.
Yeah, ocelots change change the underwear, change the diaper of their children. So, but yes, Alfred's seen it all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but so Batman goes to I think that's Valestra's place. It didn't look like Valestra's place that we've seen in other scenes, but he finds a picture of the 3 mob bosses and Andrea's father, and that triggers flashback number 3.
Yeah.
Where again we think things are going to go well. He proposes to her.
The world's shittiest proposal.
You're Bruce fucking Wayne. You don't have to do that much effort.
So this upset me way more than it needed to, especially because the scene right afterwards is when she sends the ring back.
Yeah,
and he's like, he doesn't even do anything romantic. He's like, here, I have this box. You know what it means. Hands it to her. She opens it, sees the ring, and he's like, kind of on it. He looks like he's in a squat and on a knee.
He got down.
Well, hang on. He's also like walking around the cliffs over the ocean at his mansion.
Yeah,
tucked way up in Gotham. Like that alone is a pretty romantic spot. So let's give him some points there.
But he's not going anywhere. That's still his property.
Yeah, but he's also
going out back. He's going to his backyard.
Yeah, but he has a nice ass backyard. I mean, people have proposed in their backyards before, I'm sure.
Right by a bat cave.
Well, I mean, let's not. Well, I mean, Bruce at this point is not Bruce Wayne. Is not like single billionaire playboy Bruce.
That's actually a really good
Wayne.
point. Yeah,
that's a character that he plays.
Yeah,
like I mean, I think this is what one of the things that Christian Bale did well was like he's kind of a weird, intense guy.
Yeah,
and so this is like kind of his best effort at.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, he doesn't know how to be a normal person. This is his attempt. But I do love that when she says yes, of course, all the bats fly out of the cave.
Loved. Again,
so
the
good.
melodrama works.
Yeah.
It works, and it's so nice to see it work. It's like, okay, fate with a capital F is like personified with these bats. Like you think that it's almost like the Greek concept of the hamartia, not the tragic flaw, but the inherent quality that makes one doomed. He can't,
right?
Like it's you think you have control, you don't. You don't. Here comes fate with a capital F and going, I'm sorry, I gotta throw these bats right now because this is going to not going to happen.
Yeah, you're straying too far away from the plan.
Right.
It's so perfect.
Right.
Yeah, and then the next day you see that she gives the ring back. My first thought was like, yeah, you got to fucking propose right, you piece of shit.
Do it again.
Yeah, he's
like
gonna
saw the bats and like, I don't think this is.
She told her dad of like, oh, how'd he do it? He's like, oh, he just gave me a box. He's like, oh, was it like full of like roses or doves? Like, no, just had the ring.
Conversation with her and her dad, and then what happened? And then this part was a little weird, but a bunch of bats flew out of this like crevice in the ground. Like,
I was to the moment then where they're just like all the bats are gone. They're like, well, that was weird.
Does that happen often?
Yeah.
I mean, kind of.
Yeah, every once in a while they're just floating around here. But yeah, so they, Bruce he's exploring what will become the Batcave, and he gets the ring back. And then that's the turning point, right? So then it's from there to is this one of your other favorite moments in the movie when the first time he puts the mask on?
Oh yeah, I mean, my second favorite moment is the tombstone scene.
Okay.
The music.
Yeah.
I do love the mask because that is like
Yeah.
awesome. But my third favorite scene is right after
Okay,
this.
yeah, because this is one of my favorite scenes too. Because like he goes in, he's gotten the news, and this is a turning point. Like
he goes from boy to man in this.
Yeah,
in this
so
moment.
he's down in the cave, and it's all done in silhouette. And we see the cape. He holds out his hand. Alfred hands him the mask. He puts it on. He turns around, and Alfred's like, "My God!"
Yeah,
and I love it. So
You're a monster.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the notes I have was from Michael Reeves, one of the directors, who says that, when Bruce puts it on for the first time, Alfred says that because it's terrifying for him. I mean, it's this boy he raised who is just succumbed to the darkness. Yeah, and it's kind of that. It's beyond just the fact that this is a fearful presence, no matter where you are, what happens.
Yeah,
but it's the reality that it's done.
Yeah,
okay, yeah, but it's a turning point that he is now forever on this path. He lost his chance to be happy. It's just the silhouette and the music. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So
that frame of when he's holding, when he's just like standing and he's holding the cowl in his hands.
Yeah.
And that I plan on freezing and making like the backdrop.
Yeah.
To my computer.
It's I don't know. Again, the whole movie is packed these really powerful moments. Most of them are visual too.
Oh yeah, it's very visual and very the music. Like we talked about it multiple times already, but like they nail every kind of these big moments with like these crescendos that just really kind of pull you. And like you said, it doesn't really work in live action with this deep organ, but like in this moment, you see it and you believe it. You fully are immersed in that scene of Bruce is gone now. Now we have Batman.
Right, he's Batman first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I love it too because obviously in the flashbacks, this alternative timeline sort of thing, we kind of reach this huge escalation point, and then of course we get back to the normal timeline and escalation point here because who does Valestra go seek out to get some help with his bat problem?
Just when you think the movie can't get any better,
Mr. J.
Oh my God!
Comes in and hits a home run leading off.
I mean,
Joker.
yeah. I mean, his introduction again. We're back at the World's Fair, completely run down, decrepit, abandoned. The Joker does love his abandoned
things,
places that were once fun,
Yeah.
and meant for children, and not anymore. It's all the big statues start going off, and the song goes off, and he just riddles the whole thing with bullets, and just comes out of nowhere, and he's just so intense.
Comes out of the shadows.
Yeah.
He's got that big grin on his face.
And I even love like the little joke that he says to Valestra that
Mi casa nostra es su casa
yes,
nostra. That's the line of the movie for me.
Yeah,
that was my favorite line of the whole movie. I was laughing like hard at that. Like that's good. That's good writing.
That's really clever.
That's really clever. And Joker. I mean, there's multiple characters in this movie that are written that cleverly, but especially Joker.
Yeah.
And you can't only have that. And his inflection and his cadence and the way that Mark Hamill plays with the sounds in his lines is just masterful.
Yeah.
This movie is a masterclass in voice acting from him.
Oh no, it absolutely is, and you can tell that this is clearly why they brought Paul Dini in because pretty much every Joker episode at this point in the show is all Paul Dini, and he just knows how to write the character so well. And I think this is the best version of the Joker we see in anything.
Oh, absolutely. This is especially the end. It's like that's the best Joker laugh we're ever gonna get.
Oh yeah, and I guess
scene.
One of the things I read about this was that they didn't want to bring the Joker in originally because they didn't want to remind people of the '89 movie or draw too many comparisons. But they kind of realized they could do something in this movie that they couldn't do in others. And I imagine what that meant was that he's a supporting character. We're halfway through and he shows up. The movie's not about him like the '89 movie was. He's a supporting character until he becomes central because you can't bring in a character like that and not have them be incredibly important unless you're writing Suicide Squad. And so
heyo, that's
throwing it down.
Had to get it in there somewhere. I made it an hour before I said it, so that's pretty good. But yeah, I love him in this. I think he's absolutely amazing.
This is my third favorite scene. We're finally here, and it's the most like nothing moment. Nothing happens in this moment. It's right when Sal is like, I need your help with something, and he literally springs into frame, and it's the smallest bit of cartoonness.
It's like, I'm here for business. Oh, business!
And I paused it and just lost it for a good minute. I'm like, that is perfect.
It's perfect.
I loved it so much.
Yeah, it's just at that point when you have all the laws of gravity and physics that the movie is adhering to goes out the window because this character has you in his spell. You're just like, perfect.
He's here.
He boing-yoings. Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I think he is at his funniest and at his most menacing in this movie.
He's scary.
Yeah.
He's scary as hell.
Yeah, he's always played for laughs, but here, he is genuinely funny and genuinely terrifying.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. God, I mean, even when Valestra basically says, "Can you help me?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I can help you." For my old pal, that's what I want to see is this smile, and you're like, "Oh, that's not going to go well."
Yeah.
And of course we see that because he sets a trap. So the Phantasm shows up at Valestra's house and goes to confront him and finds dead Valestra with this huge grin. Really, really creepy and an really intense creepy moment too, like really a scary moment.
Creepy. And you see that like sad little old man smile turn into this like demented grin.
Yeah.
And again,
And then he
that is followed by, I think, my second favorite line of the movie, which is like, your something will be all over Gotham.
Oh, it's like your
legs,
name,
your spleen, your head, and it's just like, oh, what's gonna happen? And
the whole thing. Yeah, it's your name will be all over town. Not to mention, it's so good. And then of course the chase sequence that follows that too.
Oh, yeah.
God, I mean, talk about beautifully animated and intense. And so, I mean, technically we're not supposed to really know that that's Andrea at this point, so that part's not there. But even just the pure mystery of it, that this villain who's going through and killing people, and Batman's going after him, and just the way, I mean, they are kind of equals in this sense. If anything, the Phantasm actually has the edge because he disappears.
I remember thinking that, like, honestly, like the first time I watched the movie, I remember clearly thinking to myself, I don't see how Batman is going to beat this guy.
Yeah,
because first of all, this is a comic book world. Is it a ghost? Is it some supernatural thing? I don't know.
Because it's played a whole bunch of elements like he's supernatural.
Like in fantasy,
And this chase scene, you really see Batman kind of torn to his last leg to get out of this. Like, he uses every trick he has to escape. Yeah, and you see him both mentally and physically fully depleted.
Yeah,
as he finally gets out, and Andrea is there to help.
Yeah, because the Phantasm disappears. The Bat-Wing is like
is compromised.
Let's call it that. Yeah, it ends at the construction site, and I mean, there's that decoy he uses, which wouldn't really work if you stop and actually think about it, where he puts the cowl over the sawhorse, but it's also such an awesome sequence. Again, the music, which could be distracting, but I think in this case just really brings the whole thing up. And I mean, he's pushed the limit. He literally has to give up his cowl, escaping cowl, to try and escape. If he gets caught at this point, he's fucked.
Game over.
Yeah.
I mean, the stakes are so high when he's on the run from the cops trying to get out of there. And he's only saved the last minute by Andrea, and it's such an intense scene. And my God, this
is another one that I think movies could really adapt this well, because in Begins we had the kind of suspenseful escape scene, which was taken from Year One, where he's kind of carried out by the bats.
Yeah, he uses the bats to escape out of Arkham. Yeah.
Which is creative, but that stupid sonar thing in his boot, because isn't that where
But that was from Year One, though.
Yeah,
it was the same thing. I mean, I
know, but that's still kind of I don't like that.
I agree with you though.
Is that one step too far, you think?
A little
believability.
I mean, I'm fine completely believing anything in the show, but seeing that and seeing this, this is what I want to see. I understand that you got to go with the bat thing and the themes, but this is the escape I want to see. I want to see him life on the line, beaten, torn,
blood.
Yeah. Blood.
Yeah, right. That's,
blood.
Broken bones.
That's all Kevin really wants. Just bloody bat. But I mean, again, what makes this stand out, so many of these moments, is that there is genuine emotion and tension tied into it that I think is not necessarily present in even Begins, where it's oh, this is how is he going to do it? Kind of this is going to be a cool moment. This is no, this is actually really intense. But so, of course, Andrea saves him. It looks like maybe they might be getting back together. We get a wonderful repeat of Alfred's surprised, I should be elsewhere face. And then we...
That's his inner monologue.
That's how he talks to himself, He's developed his own language over the years. A lot of time spent by himself in the Batcave, dusting, just muttering to himself. Right. But we go to our fourth flashback, where Andrea's explaining that they had to flee the country because her dad screwed over the mobsters and they were out to kill him. So this is the one part of the movie that doesn't work for me. So that sets up Carl's motive. So he is supposed to be the red herring of the movie. Yeah. Do you guys think that whole thing actually works? At any point when you're watching this, do you ever feel oh, I suspect it might be her dad?
Kind of.
Yeah?
My problem was I knew who she was before.
Right.
But if I was watching this live, I would have definitely thought it was either Carl or the attorney.
Arthur,
yeah. Those are the two that I would have put it on before I would have put it on Andrea.
Okay. I don't know. What about you, Vasilios? What do you think?
I'm afraid you're gonna make me look silly by the evidence that you're gonna provide in a minute.
Oh man.
2,
hold on to your seat. You're about to look stupid.
You guys have both taken improv with me. That wouldn't be the first time. 2, I'm historically bad at falling for that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, I did buy it.
Okay.
I did
no,
buy it.
I'm glad to say that. I don't have like some big like boom. Here's evidence as to why you're stupid. No, like for me,
boom, you're an idiot.
For me, it's never worked. It's never worked. I mean, again, I knew who the character was going in. I mean, I know that there's kind of this whole big thing about when they I think it was Kenner when they released the toys, they packaged the Phantasm with her mask off, so they
I read
damn
that.
it,
they spoiled it. It spoiled it.
Here's the pen.
Check that one off.
Stupid. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah. It all came through, which is good. All the sounds. But so I mean. So maybe that was the case. Maybe I just knew going in because of the toy or whatever. But I don't. For me, I don't think that element of the plot works. I don't. I think they almost need to make that more pronounced that he might be the red herring. But I'm glad that it works for you guys because it didn't work for me. But yeah. So that at this point now, Bruce is just convinced that it's her dad.
Also, at the same time, if you're not expecting a twist.
Right. Yeah.
That's true.
It's a kids show.
Yeah.
That's a fake mystery. Like, the audience has to know by now. We're 2/3 through the movie. It's obviously who we think it is now.
Yeah. Yeah. But Bruce is kind of convinced that it's her dad. They are clearly on the path to get back together. And then he's looking at that old photo and he realizes, oh shit, the remaining person in that photo is a pre-transformation Joker.
I want to know.
Oh,
so he's
damn.
like immediately knows how to draw the face. I want to know how many photos he goes through. It's like draws the Joker smile. No, that's not him. No, damn it.
That's why they'll never let him back into the Louvre.
Yeah.
He just yeah. So he so then the Joker confronts Arthur in his office again. Really intense and genuinely terrifying because he breaks in and poisons Arthur. And doesn't kill him like he does with Valestra, but I mean,
which I think is interesting.
It is interesting.
This is the first time we see like how the doctors handle a laughing patient.
Yeah, because they're just trying to sedate as much as possible, and I guess the implication there is that eventually it'll wear off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting that the Joker left him alive. I mean, obviously he had to for plot reasons, but it's also, I mean, you can also like the Joker. He would kill some people and leave other people.
Right.
Yeah,
going
torture some others.
Yeah, but so Batman goes and figures out that okay, like
the scene also I thought was kind of funny because like the doctor's like just try and stay calm, just like don't get too excited. Boom. Batman, this is the time when Bruce needs to come in and talk to him. Like you've established early in the movie that you know each other.
Yeah. Hey Arthur, how's it going, old buddy?
Yeah. I heard you met up with the Joker. How would that go? That must have been horrible. Did he say anything?
Yeah. So by the way, do you know anything about Carl Beaumont?
Don't break in as Bruce as Batman.
But I mean, I think it's probably, I don't know, probably the second, maybe the third scariest / most disturbing moment in this movie is watching and listening to Arthur not be able to stop laughing.
Yeah.
That's like literally like your heart drops. Not literally, but figuratively, your heart drops.
Yeah.
Mine did.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, like that's the great thing about being able to break out of like the traditional kids format, and I think the longer this universe runs, they're able to do that. I think by the time you get to like Justice League and even Batman Beyond, you're getting kind of the darker, more sophisticated storytelling that we see in this movie. But where we are in the series so far, we haven't quite gotten there yet. But so this explains the fifth and final flashback, guys, which is just purely Andrea like going back home and realizing that
her father
has been killed by the Joker. So she's off to go kill the last person on her list, the Joker, back out at the Decrepit World's Fair. And so begins an amazing fucking climax of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that was an open invitation for you guys to start talking about it.
That's it. I think we're going to end the podcast there. You can find us at Timm Talk on.
Well, I have more trivia to steal from Cameron, so I'm going to keep talking.
That's fine. I'm just going to rip out.
Yeah,
this
but so
page.
I love. She goes in to confront the Joker. He knows who she is. Right off the beginning, they get into a fight. one moment I love is that she's punching him and he's like on the table and he's reaching back behind him.
Oh, it's the
and there's the knife.
There's two items. There's a big thing of bologna, and then there's a butcher knife.
And what is he gonna grab?
Boom with the bologna in the face.
Yeah.
You have to. He has to take the joke.
Yeah.
Always. That's how Joker is.
No, every time. And then Bruce saves Andrea from getting sucked into a giant fan by throwing his bat bike into it.
So yeah, they're all in there. He's like trying to shoo Andrea away.
Yeah.
And one of the lines that I really enjoyed in this scene is she's like, I have to kill him. I have to get vengeance. Like, what will vengeance solve? And there's that pause, like, you of all people should know what vengeance. Like, you of all people should know how to answer that question.
Yeah.
And he kind of does, but
and I think that's what makes him interesting, which we didn't. It's only kind of now that this sort of theme pops up between the two of them. But Bruce doesn't really want vengeance. Right, like he's trying to, like it's kind of like scratching an itch. He has this pain. He's trying to find a solution to that. But what I think is interesting is he doesn't really want vengeance. But what I like is that Andrea thinks they're on the same path, even though they're clearly not. Enough so that it makes Bruce question himself, like really, how similar are we really? We're both on this quest to avenge our parents.
Yeah.
Well, even when he's on, Joker has a jetpack that he's kind of flying around, and Batman jumps on. And he's like, "What are you trying to do? You're going to kill us if you don't let go."
Yeah.
And Batman even says, Joker says, "Let go, or we're going to die. We're both going to die." And he says, "Whatever it takes."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh shit, he wants to kill him."
Yeah. I mean, think about everything he's like lost at this point, right? And that it's all coming back. He's been able to spend 10 years avoiding Andrea and that chance of happiness, and all of a sudden she's back. She's become him, but worse. I'd be pretty pissed too.
Yeah, it's intense.
And I wonder if he also, sorry to cut you off.
No.
I think he also thinks like if
podcast.
he gets, it's my fucking podcast.
There will be no blowing Cameron off the mic on this day.
I wonder if there's like the thought going through his head of this is Andrea's last person. If he gets rid of him, will he have that chance of happiness again? Will that pull her out of the abyss?
That's
enough
true.
for him to like help?
Oh, that's a good point.
That's an interesting question.
Maybe. Wait, are you saying like if she kills him, will that bring her back? If she kills the Joker, will it let her?
Yeah, if he kills the Joker, if either of them killed the Joker, will that bring back the potential happiness? Will that pull her out of the abyss that she's fallen into?
Yeah, but of course, if she were to do that, he could never. He would have to take her in because she'd be just like the Joker at that point.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem. That's the great speech at the very end with Alfred.
Yeah.
I think,
and then that's why this movie works, is because it actually asks some like genuine, like moral questions. I think maybe less ham-fistedly than maybe even the Nolan movies do. Because like the whole place goes up in a massive explosion, and then they're back at the cave, and that's the great thing. And we see why Bruce needs Alfred too, and I actually like this moment too because Alfred calls him Bruce, which doesn't actually happen that often.
That struck me too because it's so out of the ordinary.
Yeah, it just goes to show that they have a dynamic. They have like a repartee,
right?
But in real moments of impact, they let it go. Yeah, and I think Alfred kind of at his most fatherly.
Oh yeah, this was. I think this might have been my favorite Alfred moment of the entire series.
Yeah, I mean, it shows why he's there, why he's so important, why he like really, really matters. And as Alfred says, like
he's not just a butt wiper.
No, he does more than just diaper his bottom. But yeah, he even says like Andrea didn't want to be saved, and that he's always been afraid that Bruce will fall into that same pit, and he chose land, but he never did. But Andrea was lost.
I've always feared that you become what you fight against. You walk the edge of the abyss every night, but you haven't fallen in.
Yeah. Cut to a wide shot of
an actual hole in the ground.
Chasm in the Batcave. Yeah.
That hole. I wasn't worried you're gonna fall. That hole right there behind you.
Imagine your life is like, well, look behind you.
Yeah, and when you're doing your acrobat trick on the tightrope, I'm really worried you're gonna fall off the tightrope into the chasm in the cave.
Still not getting it. Okay. I have a question about the trivia here. Mm-hmm. When they're fighting in the models of the buildings.
Oh yeah.
I didn't understand. Like, I guess it was trivia to like some sets or something that were in I didn't understand.
So that was
reminded me of King Kong or Godzilla. That's what I thought.
Okay,
right?
So what it was an homage to the Dick Sprang era, which would have been like the 60s, like 50s and 60s, which is kind of like the more fun, kind of pulpy poppy sort of era.
In the comics?
In the comics, yeah.
Okay.
So oftentimes in the comics, Batman would be like squaring off against his rogues galleries, and the cover would be like them giant amongst the city. This sort of exaggerated thing. So it's a direct reference to that.
Got it.
Okay. Yeah, and so like they do a similar thing in the new Batman Adventures episode Legends of the Dark Knight when they're like fighting the Joker in the like giant music museum. I don't know if you guys remember that episode.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's also a reference to Dick's Brain, that kind of era of stuff. But yeah, so that was a deliberate pull. That's a great fight sequence too. It's two of them like giants fighting.
And him just like waddling inside the giant building. I love that little moment.
Oh my god, when he's like behind the building and he's like holding.
Yeah. No, it's so good. I suppose at some point we should kind of wrap towards an ending here. Maybe we'll try and get it done. Like
I mean, it only took us 80 minutes for us to talk about a 70-minute movie.
Yeah, I guess we're that's true.
We're almost
pretty much on there, so we'll kind of wrap it up here. But I think I think for me the ending of this is like just so perfect. I mean, it's bittersweet. So yeah, Bruce discovers the Andreas locket that has a picture of the two of them in the Batcave. What I love is so then it cuts to an ending shot we've seen in a lot of other mediums. I mean, it's very similar to the end of the 89 movie, it's the end of Batman Begins, where he's like back out in the city and the bat signal goes off and he races towards it. I still think this is the best version of that.
I was really hoping
when he kind of like you see the head go up.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was kind of hoping the first time I watched this that it was going to end on that famous shot from the animated or from the TV title sequence, where it was going to be like him standing on the building and the flash of lightning go behind him. I was really hoping that was going to like the full cycle of like, this is where we're always starting.
It comes back around. Yeah. Like they show two criminals break into like a bank and then he's off.
Yeah.
Yeah. That actually would have been kind of clever.
That would have been pretty cool.
Yeah. But I love the way it ends right there. Yeah. I mean, because you think about this, this is a long episode of a TV show. He's back where he started. He had this massive, like deeply emotional arc. But at the end of the episode, nothing has really changed.
Right? Yeah, it's just back to work.
Back to work. But I think that works for Batman because he's never going to stop doing this sort of thing. But I think now that journey he's on and that relentlessness has more impact than it did beforehand. I think I've actually burned through almost all of my trivia.
Fuck yeah, let me pull up mine.
So I got a few little bits here. I mean, just
got it.
Let me see here.
Got it.
Yeah,
there's one you haven't mentioned.
I mean, the general idea. I mean, it's like this whole movie was basically made by like the brain trust of the show. So directed by Eric Radomski and Bruce Timm, but there were sequence directors too, and so that's all the guys we see pop up all the time. So like Kevin Altieri, Boyd Kirkland, Paul Paul.
You're the name guy.
I should know these things. I didn't write them down. I'm pulling these all off the top of my head.
It's pretty good for off the top.
Yeah. Oh, and then of course, like Alan Burnett was one of the writers, and so when he sat down to do this, he wanted to, as you mentioned before, do a story that was separate from the Rogues Gallery, but he wanted to do a love story because that hadn't really been done on TV. I think it really fucking works.
Yeah.
Do I have? Oh, I mean, I guess Orson Welles' Citizen Kane was a point of reference. Was that one of yours?
No.
I'm literally going through.
I knew you were gonna
sit down.
I knew you were gonna do that one, so I didn't write it down.
Yeah. So the only thing I have is that it's a loose adaptation of Batman Year 1 and Year 2. Did you write anything about Year 2?
Very little. It's,
okay.
I don't know anything about Year 2.
I've never read Year 2.
I didn't know it existed until I read about it.
If I really cared about this podcast, I would have read it in preparation, but I haven't. Did you write? Like I wrote down the basic beats. Do you have anything?
I wrote the same thing, but you can talk about it.
Okay. Sure.
I have another point that I want to bring up.
Okay, fine. Let me get this real quick. So, yeah, I mean, we've seen the Year 1 stuff, Bruce in like an early version, pre-costume, stuff like that. So, but I guess in Year 2, there's characters of Judson Caspian, who's the Reaper, and his daughter Rachel Caspian. So those are the kind of inspiration for Carl and Andrea Beaumont. The story is really fucking bizarre. I got it down to its basic bones, but basically the Reaper was the first vigilante in Gotham, and he's willing to kill. And he has been gone for a long time, but after Batman kind of shows up on the scene in Year 1, he comes back. He almost kills Batman in a fight. So then Batman considers using the gun that killed his parents on the Reaper. So apparently he just keeps that gun in Batcave or the house somewhere. So he takes it with him as if he's going to kill the Reaper. He ends up agreeing to work with all the criminals because they're like put off by the Reaper and he's like fucking up their business. So he gets teamed with Joe Chill, who killed his parents. Right? Yeah, this was an actual story.
What year is this?
This would have been the late 80s, early 90s. I forget the exact year, but it was after Year 1, which was in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
So basically shenanigans ensue. The Reaper is presumed dead, and then Batman confronts Chill and is planning on killing him with the gun that killed his parents.
Oh boy.
For just really on the nose poetic justice. But before he can, the Reaper shows up because he's not actually dead, shoots and kills Joe Chill, and then apparently falls to his death. And while all this has been going on, Bruce has been dating the Reaper's daughter, Rachel, and when she finds out that her dad is dead, she just decides to go become a nun and leaves him.
Yeah.
And breaks off their engagement.
Oh, I was going to say none. Yeah, probably none.
Yeah. No, I mean, because there is absolutely zero subtext or anything else in this. They made a lot of really good improvements when they adapted this storyline.
The Lord.
Woohoo. Cameron, that is the extent of my trivia.
Fuck yeah, it's my turn. I guess the only point that you've left me.
Oh, time
Yeah, I think. Should we just wrap this?
No. So this is really interesting because
is it?
It is. It's very fascinating, Chris.
Okay, go on.
Not the fact. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
This was ground zero for the overused story that we see in all 2000s superhero films of superheroes wanting to drop the cape for a girl. If you look at...
No, it's not.
What was before this?
Superman 2.
Cameron is actually getting up, actually walking to the door, actually opening it, can't unlock it, cannot unlock it, having difficulty, coming back in defeat, spinning his phone like he does, sitting back in.
Okay, wait, but so where did you read that this was the start of that trope?
In my mind.
Oh. Yes.
I thought... Whatever.
Nope, Superman. To be fair, though, Superman 1 and 2, Supermen's?
Superman, yeah.
Superman movies.
Yeah. Superman movies 1 and 2, they did all these things first. The prolonged intro, the hero trying to give up his hero-ness for a girl, which Bruce doesn't really, because it's before he's Batman that he...
Yeah, whatever. What do you have to plug, Chris?
Well, Vasilios, why don't you... hang on, before we go, do we have anything else to actually say about the movie? I mean, Cameron doesn't, because I just shit all over him at this point.
Kids, if you haven't seen this movie, watch it and love it and enjoy it. Do not watch the credits, or you will get the worst 90s sax ballad.
Yeah, some jazzy tunes from Tia Carrera there.
Why? Now, this is a phenomenon that occurs... Cameron, it's all right,
He's
buddy.
So sad.
It's all right, buddy. Because it's a phenomenon that occurs in...
You wanted more conflict in the podcast.
in lots of 90s action movies. Not lots of 90s action movies.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Don't watch the credits.
No.
Or mute them and just maybe play the score from Batman Returns. Yeah, that might be fun.
Just even, open up Spotify and play this score some more.
Yeah,
because it's
just play the opening theme again.
Yes,
yeah,
God,
play the opening theme again. But yeah, don't want. Yeah,
it's so good.
Sad.
But I mean, Cameron, genuinely, do you have anything else?
We did skip over one line that I wanted to bring up.
Please, by all means, let's talk about this.
There was a scene that we kind of breezed over because it's not super important, but it's Batman is in Andrea's hotel room, apartment,
whatever.
Thing,
yeah.
After she has a very loud kiss with Arthur, where he still believes her dad is alive, and he believes that she's doing.
Batman
all of this.
still believes.
Yes, Batman still believes that her dad's alive, and he believes that she's still doing all of this, whatever she's trying to do in his name. And she's like, you need to stop letting your dad control you.
Yeah. I
wrote it down somewhere. And then she has this amazing retort of the only one still being controlled by their parents is you.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing, I saw a GIF of that before I even saw the movie.
Oh, really?
On Tumblr years ago.
Wow. Wait, how? When did you first see this movie?
Chris, I have some news for you.
Oh.
The first time I saw this movie was about 2 months ago with you at Tarantino's Theater, Beverly Cinema.
New Beverly.
Yep. And I was trying to hold that news for you.
Chris is now. The headphones are off. Chris is leaving his own house It's all right. As
wait,
long as
what?
we watch it, right?
What?
I mean, that's the
What?
that's the
Really?
important. As long as we watch it.
Okay, so that is shocking. And I guess I'm supposed to be offended, but at the same time, that's awesome. You got to see it in theaters for the first time. That is not.
It was pretty
It's
awesome.
like you and a whole bunch of like 5-year-old children got to see it for the first time.
That's why I was
in the
so
theater.
mad when they got to be a part of the raffle and I didn't. There was
Okay,
a raffle
don't
at
take
the
it too
movie
far.
theater.
Yeah.
But really, you'd never seen it before.
No, I remember before we started this podcast, I just didn't really have an interest in it for some reason. Like, I was so obsessed with the late 2000s animated film. Don't give me that look. It's a very bad look on you.
It really is, though.
There was just something about it that, like, I never... Those older, like, this, Mr. Freeze, Catwoman, all those movies, I just never really had an interest in for some reason. And then when we started this podcast, and you got so excited about the movie episode, about this episode in particular, I was thinking, like, I need to see this from a fresh perspective. Like, you've had this movie your entire life.
Yeah.
I'm curious how our opinions are going to differ, which they didn't really.
No.
Seeing it, because I was planning on watching it for the first time directly before this episode.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
But yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah.
See,
I know I lost a lot of nerd cred.
Yes.
no,
yes, you did.
Well,
but
everybody has movies that slip through the cracks, for sure. In even movies that like you would expect wouldn't slip through the cracks. That happens. That happens to everybody. Trying to think of one of mine.
But anyway, so we have been talking.
I've never seen the Hobbit animated movie.
Are you really missing out on anything?
I plan to watch it for the podcast.
Have you seen
Okay, that makes
the Leonard Nimoy music video?
That has to do with Lord of the Rings?
Yeah,
he
the
likes-
Ballad of Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah, he sings it.
No.
Oh, you are missing out
know
on a
of-
treat for the world.
He didn't write it. Did he write it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he wrote it because I know there's.
Bilbo Baggins, the greatest little hobbit of them all.
Oh boy.
It's amazing.
Okay.
I watched that in 7th grade, and it stuck with me forever.
Because I know there's long songs that Tolkien has written either for Bilbo or about Bilbo, and I assumed he put that to music.
No, well, I'll show it to you after the podcast is
Okay.
over.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
If it ever ends.
I know. At this point, we probably should wrap it up. If you guys are still around, thank you. I think pretty much good for the movie at this point, right? Okay, so then
Wait, so what? I'm so sorry. Where do you rank? Where do you guys rank this movie in Batman films?
1.
You rank it 1?
Yeah, hands down.
Of theatrical films?
What do you do 2 and 3?
Begins, returns.
Begins, returns. Okay.
Yeah.
You?
You know, after watching it, I think I'm going to put it at number 1 as well.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
High-fived.
We nailed it.
Yeah.
Not sure if the audio could pick up on that really shitty high five.
We've come back together. We've come back together, Cameron.
Chris just slapped Cameron for no reason.
No reason.
Yeah, I think this like just flew up on my list because it kind of had everything that I wanted in a Batman story. 2 and 3 I'm gonna put as Forever, just because I love that movie way more than I need to.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and the trifecta is, he can't get out. We've trapped him at the desk. He attempted to walk out.
2, I guess I'll put as Begins, because I really like I just love the training montage at the beginning of Begins.
Yeah.
It kind of carries the whole thing for me.
It does.
Yeah.
What about you, Vasilios? What are your rankings here?
Can we count DVD or no?
We're doing theatrical.
I think we're doing theatrical release.
Because if we're including DVD, that list is
Then
very
it's
different.
a long list.
I'm
yeah.
doing Begins, Phantasm, Lego for theatrical.
Oh, damn it.
Shit snacks.
Lego's number 1 for me.
Okay, this is still number 1 for me.
Okay.
And I think Lego would actually be behind Begins and Returns. I love the Lego movie.
The Lego Phantasm forever.
There you go. It works.
There's
There
the
we
name
go.
of the episode right
Yeah,
there.
it works.
Thank you for indulging me.
No, that's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up because I would have forgotten about Lego Batman. How could I possibly forget about Lego Batman?
Yeah.
Which is funny because I actually have a little Lego Robin.
Yeah, I've been looking at that the whole time.
Sitting on my desk there. Yeah. But we should wrap it up, I think, at this point. So real quickly, we'll get into our bat plug to the week. Vasilios, do you have something you've been watching or reading or listening to or whatnot?
Yeah, one is a British miniseries, I guess a series, It's called Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. Have you guys
I
seen
know of it. I have not watched it.
Okay, so it's based on a book that I actually read in back in college in my fantasy literature class, which I told you about, Cameron. So it's a wonderful book. And the miniseries is also very, very good. I just watched the miniseries for the first time. It take all of the best aspects of like a well-crafted BBC like period drama, and just inject magic into it.
That does sound pretty awesome.
And it is awesome, and it's intimate enough to have like a real personality to it. So
cool.
it's awesome. Go watch Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell.
Where do you?
On Netflix.
Okay, I was gonna say, what are you watching it on? Okay,
yeah, it's on Netflix. And go read The Hobbit, everybody. I can't leave without saying that.
Oh yeah,
just go and read The Hobbit. Or listen to it.
Here's my moment. I've never read The Hobbit or any of the books.
Or you can throw this at him if you want.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Would
I own copies.
Would you read The Hobbit?
Yeah, I do want to read it at some point.
You should read it.
I just have 2 other books I'm reading simultaneously right now.
I got my girlfriend a Hobbit comic.
Oh,
Hobbit graphic novel. So if that makes it easier, you might want to go that route.
No, I'll read the book. I actually do want to read it at some point. I haven't done it yet.
I've read The Hobbit.
Yeah, he has read The Hobbit.
You can read?
I can read.
He's read 2 books in his
Wow.
life.
Yeah, I feel like I have 3. I've read The Odyssey, Wrinkle in Time, and
Oh wow, throwback.
yeah,
Good book.
and The Hobbit.
Yeah. I know 7 books you haven't read, but Cameron, since I'm not yet done abusing you, what have you been reading? Well, not reading, but what have you been watching?
I've been watching. I just finished the new Netflix series, Dear White People.
Was it good?
It was awesome.
Yeah?
It was very fun.
Because it's a movie.
fun.
It's adapted from a film, right? Have you
Yeah,
seen...
it was an indie film that came out 2-ish years ago that
Okay.
I haven't seen, but I just know all the controversy that came out when the trailer came out, and then MTV made this horrible Dear White People video on New Year's. They got even more hate, and everyone was connecting that to the show. But no, everyone go watch the show. There's a lot of important things being brought up, and it's just like a really cool it's a really interesting take on like college campus life.
Oh, okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I've heard good things. I need to watch that.
Yeah,
it's on my list.
10 quick episodes.
Half hours?
Yeah.
Yes. God, it's always the best.
Mm-hmm. What are you watching, listening, reading to?
I'm reading a book. I have it right here because I can never remember.
One of those things that has a lot of pages.
Yeah,
in it,
it's
with a colorful front and back.
Yeah, it has words printed on paper.
Do those words make pictures?
It's a book.
No, they make pictures in your mind.
Oh, that's weird. I don't like
book.
that.
It's a book.
Nah, it's not for me.
But this is actually recommended to me by my friend Neil. It's called Dreadnought. It's the first in a series, the Nemesis series, and it's by April Daniels. Uh-huh. And so it's about a transgender teenager. So how to describe it? So born a boy, is a girl, but pre-transition, who inherits the powers of basically a Superman figure. And as part of inheriting that power, becomes an actual girl. So all of a sudden, so this transgender girl now is actually a physical girl and also has these powers. And so it's her kind of navigating this space of dealing with like a Justice League sort of thing and coming to terms with like her family accepting her now that she is an actual girl. And no, it's really good. And actually a really good friend of mine is gender fluid and read this, and it had a really big impact on her. And that's awesome because I really get excited about people finding representation in like pop culture is not there. So it's really, really good. It's an easy read. And it's great. I recommend checking it out. So
cool. That's
my thing.
Nice.
Yeah. And I think that basically does it for us. So Vasilios, tell us real quick about your podcast and where we can find you.
My podcast is an all over the place exploration of Tolkien's work. J.R.R. Tolkien's work. It's called Tolkien Takeaway. You can find it on iTunes and SoundCloud. Every episode is something completely different. We jump around in theme. We jump around in work. By we, I mean I. Sometimes we have a guest. Chris, you will be on it. I hope. If you agree.
No, I'd love to.
And
throw me a topic.
Yeah, so. and it's great, and I love doing it. And it's one of the things I'm most passionate about right now in my life. So again, it's called Tolkien Takeaway, and you can find it on Facebook, and you can find it on Twitter at Tolkien Takeaway, and I am at _Vasilios on Twitter and Instagram.
How do you spell that?
Boom, there you go.
Thank you. _VASILIOS.
Cool.
Thanks,
Because it was
Cameron.
written in my phone wrong until you spelt it on your last podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Cameron, where can we find you?
You can find me at Cameron.Dexter on Instagram and not Twitter.
Yep, landed it.
Yeah.
And I am at Lordifer, and of course the podcast itself is at Timm Talk Pod. It's 2 M's, by the way. I assume at this point you know this. On Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. And we saved it to the end because we didn't want to interrupt in the middle of our talk about the Phantasm. But our sponsor this week is Hellmouthy.
Oh, yeah.
there you go.
Which, Vasilios, you have been on.
I have been on twice, I think.
Thrice?
Two or three times.
Thrice.
2 or 3 times.
More fun to say.
And I owe a bunch to them. It's part of my inspiration to start my podcast is due to them. Is due to being on their podcast.
Oh, yeah. And
thank you, Ryan and Kelly.
yeah, and we've kind of modeled ours on theirs as well. So yeah, it's really, really good. So do go check that out. So there will be a promo following this. But guys, thank you so much for sticking with us. It was a particularly long podcast.
If you're still listening, thanks so much.
Yeah.
It really means a lot.
But we love this movie so much. It was hard not to go long on it. But yeah, thanks so much. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Hey guys, it's Ryan and Kelly.
Hey guys, it's Ryan and Kelly. From the Hellmouthy podcast. Do you want to watch Buffy, either again or for the first time ever?
And talk about it?
With us? You'll be doing talking by yourself, but we'll be talking. Check out the Hellmouthy podcast on Nerdist School Network. Listen to it.
Okay, let's try it one more time.
The Nerdist School